G'day everyone, Not Sealed here. Today we're going to be repairing this Vanguard Alta Pro 2 Plus tripod. This tripod was dropped fairly hard and it ripped out the helicoil, as you can see here, and also stripped the swivel head. So what we're going to be doing today is tapping it out to put a new 12mm bolt in it. I've tried other helicoils, the 3/8 to 1/4, but because it's stripped in the head, it just doesn't work. In my opinion, this is a weak link in the tripod. You're going from a 3/8 sort of thread to a 1/4. Obviously this is so you can put different heads on them, but there's not enough thread. You've got a really heavy swivelable head mount which can carry heavy cameras or lights, and if your camera tripod gets knocked over, this is where it's going to bend or break. So today's project is to tap it out with a 12mm tap and a 10mm drill bit. I've got out my trusty tap and die set. Got this off Amazon a few years ago and this is great. It's cheap, does everything I've ever needed to do on all my projects. So I'll leave some links in the description. Now I got this bolt from a local hardware store and I'm just matching it with a tap. It's 12mm by 1.75 pitch. The drill size is 10mm. I like to work with metric hardware, but if you're in the United States of America and you have Imperial, then you'll have to do a quick conversion. All I'm doing here is drilling out the old thread to 10mm. This will make the tap really easy to go through. The old 3/8 size thread is very close to 10mm, so we don't really need to take a lot off. I'm just going to drill as far as I can till I hit the base of the tripod, and then we'll move over to drill out the swivel head. I will be drilling about 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters down in each of the swivel head and also the tripod base. I really want to make sure that there's a lot of thread for the swivel head and the tripod mount base to grab hold of so it never falls apart again. Because the threads of this rotating tripod swivel head have been stripped out, it's a lot easier to drill out. I recommend putting the swivel head in a vise to drill these out, but since I'm a handyman, I'm doing it by hand. The next step is to tap it out to 12mm. I like to use WD-40 as a bit of cutting fluid for the tap, as it makes the thread cutting experience very easy. The hardest part is starting the tap. Make sure you get it vertical, go slow in the beginning, and then you can speed it up, just turning quarter to half a revolution at a time, and then going backwards to break off the thread that you've just cut, forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. I'm just going to keep going till I hit the base of the tripod mount. This Vanguard tripod is over $250, so I really did not want to have to buy a new one. Could have bought a new head, but you know what, for a few dollars for a bolt, and I've got all the parts, I'll just tap my old rotating head back on. Easy. Now that we've got a new thread cut on the tripod base, let's move on to the rotating head. Some WD-40 on our 12mm tap, and let's tap it out again. This time we'll tap it out in the vise, and don't worry about the mess in the background. It's a well used workbench. Take care starting the tap, and quarter, half, full turns, and then back it off a bit to break the thread off. Plenty of WD-40 for lubrication will make the job really easy. Don't forget to like and subscribe if I've helped you in any way. All I'm doing now is making sure the threads are cut correctly. Just going to quickly screw in this bolt before we cut it up. Drive it all the way down to the base. Yep, locks in great. I'll do the same to the rotating head. Just screw in the 12mm bolt. Make sure it bottoms out correctly. There's no sticky points. Otherwise we might have to run the 12mm tap through a few more times. The next step is to cut the head off this bolt using a hacksaw. Be sure to measure the amount of thread rod you need, and as always, measure twice, cut once. A few moments later. Now I need to take the burrs off the end, so I'm just using an angle grinder. Don't do this, as you probably should use a hand file or a bench grinder. It's a lot safer. A quick tip is if you use a nut, just run it through the whole thread and go through any burr section that you have. It will make installation of your threaded rod a lot easier after it's been cut. So a quick test run of the bolt, make sure it screws in correctly, it's the right height, and then we'll go through and put some thread lock on it so it doesn't come off. I'm just using some vice grips to bottom out our rod, and then we'll install the head back onto the tripod. I like to use some blue Loctite on the threads, that way it shouldn't come undone anymore. If you don't have Loctite, there are 3 grub screws underneath the base of the tripod mount that you can screw into the head. This will stop it from rotating once it's all tightened up. And that is it, my friends. the Vanguard Ultra Pro 2 Plus tripod is back in operation. You can see it still rotates, swivels, not a problem. Rock solid, much better piece than the original. This thing's gonna last forever now. A great upgrade. Repair your tripod, save yourself $250. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments.